Has your opinion of saying je suis Charlie changed over the past year? Mariam, you have 6 minutes.
Okay. I was Charlie 6 years ago. Today, je suis Charlie, and I will always be Charlie. Here's my badge saying so. Saying one is Charlie has never meant approving everything that has been said and done by Charlie, though I must admit that I do approve of much of its left-wing, anti-racist and anti-clerical satire. I think poking fun at religion and blasphemy in the age of ISIS, when one can be killed for it, is a historical task and necessity. This is one of the main reasons why I founded something like the Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain, to break the taboo that comes with questioning and leaving Islam, and to challenge Islamists who strive to deny us the right to think and speak freely, including in secular societies. You don't have to like Charlie or any acts of blasphemy to defend the right to blaspheme and free expression. That is what, in my opinion, je suis Charlie means. Think about it for a moment. Charlie cartoonists were killed in broad daylight, in cold blood, merely for their cartoons. Those who refused to stand with them imply that they got what they deserved. They should not have been killed, but what did they expect? This culture of offense and accusations of Islamophobia are smokescreens. They serve to legitimize Islamist terror and violence and to blame the victims. Islamism's a far-right political movement that has murdered innumerable Charlie Hebdos over several decades across the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia, including many Muslims who have dared to speak or mock or just live 21st century lives prohibited by the brothers. Being a woman, being a free thinker, being gay, being unveiled, improperly veiled, being an atheist, going to school, laughing out loud, driving a car, having sex that is not religiously prescribed, falling in love, dancing, all of these offend them, and violence to all this is their usual response. Calling for civility, censorship, silence, or respect for the offended is merely heeding the Islamist demand for blasphemy laws at the expense of dissenters. So yes, I am Charlie, and I am also the many Muslims, ex-Muslims and none, who criticize and question Islam day in and day out, and criticize Islamism day in and day out across the globe at great risk to themselves. Mr. Ramadan says he is not Charlie or Paris. Instead, he says he is those who are under investigation. That I show solidarity with the cartoonist murdered for blasphemy, and that he shows solidarity with those under investigation is telling enough. As Algerian sociologist Mariam Helaloukas says, in all of this, terror itself has been disappeared from the discourse. It loses reality. It becomes just an illusion. It's conjured away, and all that we are left with is blaming the victims. The refusal to be intimidated is the greatest challenge faced by today's generations, a generation which is global, hyper-connected, confronted by instantaneous and worldwide exchanges of ideas between internet users of different religions and temporalities, says writer Caroline Forrest. The rules we are at present putting in place will determine whether we live in a world of violence and terror or a world of emancipation. It must be clear to all the yes but will lead to a society where religion will once more be taboo, where believers will be more privileged than non-believers, where majority religions will take precedence over minority ones, and where intimidation and violence will have won. The group that says, I don't agree, but I shall fight for your right to say it, will, however, create a world where people are able to engage in dialogue despite their disagreements, where believers and non-believers are equal, where all religions are considered equal, where we can laugh at our fears and stand united against those who promote violence. There is no other alternative. We either stand firm or back down. Those who think that by backing down they will avoid war are making a serious mistake. The war has already begun, decades of war against our free thinkers in the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia. Only courage will restore peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to reiterate the question, has your opinion of saying je suis Charlie changed over the past year? Professor Ramadan.
Thank you. Look, I have been listening to the two talks, and I have a problem. Because there is a great deal of emotional statements and confusion. Confusion because you are talking about what is happening in Muslim majority countries, you come back to the reality here, and at the end, all this is putting you, quite paradoxically, in the state of the victims. So you are talking about the victim mentality, but all what you are saying is that we are the victims of those Muslims, and by the way, we don't know when you talk about Muslims and Islamists and extremists. So at the end, they are all the same, apparently. And confusion is not helping. And the emotional take is not helping as well. And I think that when you are talking about Muslims playing the victims, you might ask yourself if you are not playing the victims in the whole way you are putting the question. Now, about the Je suis Charlie. Straight after what happened, I was asked in Switzerland, are you Charlie? I said, no, I'm not. I'm not Charlie, and then I explained my position. And please, don't reduce what I said with the way you put it right now. Because the starting point of critical debate is accurate quotations. And what I said is, if you mean by Charlie that we have to promote freedom of expression and the right to say whatever you want to say, I said it much before in the 90s, and even when the cartoon controversy started in Denmark, say, take a critical distance, say whatever you want to say, I'm not going to react, I don't react to provocations, and I don't like what you are saying, but you are free to say it. So if you mean by this being Charlie, that's fine. But if you mean by being Charlie that I'm supporting this kind of silly sense of humor, targeting the people, I'm not Charlie, and this is my right. So if you are putting me in a situation that I don't have the right to say, that's a sense of humor that I don't like, in fact, you are taking my freedom of expression by saying you have to be for Charlie, or you are an Islamist, a radical, and you are putting yourself now in the situation of being the victims. So it's the other way around. At the end, you are the victims and I am the aggressor. And at the end, all this was instrumentalized by the French government and many leaders around the world. Are you Charlie with Bongo? Are you Charlie with Netanyahu, who are leading the demonstration in Paris? I'm not with these people, and I don't want any kind of instrumentalizing the emotional politics that happened just after this. I prefer to be clear on a rational, reasonable statement saying, Charlie for freedom of expression, yes. Charlie to target and stigmatize people, never. And then, when I was asked, are you Paris? What I said is not only I'm not Paris. I said, I'm Paris if you, with me, you add, I'm Beirut, I'm Ouagadougou, I'm Baghdad, I'm Damascus, and I'm Gaza. If you say with me, you are all this, let's go, I'm Paris. But if it's Paris and nothing else, no, I'm not Paris. Is it clear? That's my position. Because I think that the problem that we have with your positioning very often is that you are reducing the statements and the vision of the other by saying they are all the same. This is what they are saying. We are not as simplistic as that. It's a bit more complex than being on one side. And I never said yes, but I'm always saying yes, and. And you have to come to the complexity of the issue by saying, look, I'm not going to support these people, and when I said to the coward sense of humor that these people had, because targeting the marginalized community in France and saying this is what Islam is all about. No, by the way, I never, and I would never say that you are Islamophobic. You have the right to criticize Islam and some of the Islamic principles. Go ahead, do the job, do what you want to do, but don't reduce your position to something which is targeting the Muslims and doing what they were doing and the way they were doing it. Now, by saying this, it's also something that I wanted to add here. Beyond the emotional politics and beyond the instrumentalization, I'm sorry to see that you are nurturing this and helping. And helping in a way which is, for me, very, very dangerous. You are not helping critical debate. You are exactly on the same way using the emotional politics to nurture a sense that we cannot have a critical debate with Muslims, because if they start taking a stand on some of these issues, it means that implicitly they are narrow-minded, they are Islamists, and they are radicals. That's not helping the debate. You are not helping the debate. And I would rather suggest that we come to something which is what we need to do. I'm talking to Muslims around the world by pushing them to say, we need a critical thinking. And if you criticize Islamic principles, I will never, never reduce this to Islamophobia. But I don't want, we take a stand, to have people every time we say we don't like it, it means because you don't like it, you have a hidden agenda or an Islamist understanding. I think that this kind of binary vision is the starting point of dogmatic mind. And you know what? You know what is dangerous? You can be an ex-Muslim and having a dogmatic mind. It could happen. Thank you.